welcome back to City Planner Plays, where we are building the city of Verde Beach, and this is an exciting episode. We just had a new content creator pack released, and we're going to be able to upgrade these bridges that we just laid down. So that's going to be something that we take care of today, along with finishing up our island and dealing with one more train traffic jam. So there was one particular direction and movement that I missed, and it's going to cause a death wave again. So before we get to that, why don't we get started? So I'm going to pause this for a moment and go back into the game. And one of the movements that I'm seeing that is problematic, if we just troubleshoot a bit, is so we have these trains merging together. We have this one coming over here. But one of the things that we're unable to do, so if we why don't we run this for a little bit so we can take a look. You kind of see that this train is causing a backup, and that's because it's switching sides. I know that this one will cause issues. Next, if we keep looking, let's look a bit further. We also have this whole situation, and you can see there are dead bodies on one side of the road. Well, I guess it's on both sides of the road. But, so we have these issues, and this is all backing up, and it backs up so far. Why don't we actually start? Let's just raise this. This has been an ongoing problem that I've just kind of been ignoring, and I think that the city would see a big enough issue with this at this point that they would invest in raising this track. So hear that now, and I think we're going to back it up almost all the way to here, and we'll elevate through here and get this going. Now, one of the exciting things is we now have new track options and new bridge options. So why don't we use some of those? So let's take a look at those bridge options. So when you go into the public transportation menu, it's actually over in the content creator packs, which, I constantly forget that. I click on this and wonder. But anyway, you can go over here. You got to be really careful with these. So right here is a one-way bridge with trusses. This is a one-way bridge as well. So these two options that you have are one-ways. And then the third one is a two-way concrete high-speed train viaduct. So you can go very, very fast with this, is what it's saying anyway. And I'm going to take their word for it. I believe it was Bad Peanut who made this, and one of the really great creators out there. So I'm really happy to see Bad Peanut be able to create one of these packs. I mean, this is something that I really, really love about Colossal Order and Paradox, their willingness to reward some of their best modders and creators. That's really outstanding. So I guess I personally thank them for that, for what it's worth. Not that they really care how I feel, I'm guessing, but maybe they do. So I think I went up too high there. I went up 3 notches. I want to go up 2 and see if I can make it. I can't. So 3 it is. I know that in some places where the topography is just right, you can do it. This is clearly not one of those. The other thing is sometimes you can drop down. Also, oh, it is. Look at that. See, that's why you putz around with this. So I ended up with one little track segment there, and that little segment was enough to throw this all off into complete disarray. Interestingly enough, it lowered it to create this. Not going to worry about it. Ultimately, what I'm trying to do is get this bridge right. And because we're going through an area that already has a lot of development, I'm going to try my best not to demolish things. Yeah, and I think that the way to do this, so I lowered this down 1 to get across here. It's just not working well. So I am going to bring that back up 3, which seems to be the easiest height to work. So I have everything freeform right now so that I can get through here without damaging the existing development. And this is going to slow down the train. That means that there are slight movements, slight turns, little variations that are probably not beneficial for the train anyway. Really great for what I'm doing now. And I again tried to lower that and failed. So that's what I get for for giving that a go. And I'm probably going to have to take this back further and do some additional reconfiguration. I'm really hoping that I don't have to damage any of this stuff happening over here. That's a very expensive bridge, and if at all possible, we'd like to keep. Probably not the ideal junction place. Let's see if we can do better. That is ugly, but I think it might work better. Let's give it a shot, but we'll run it and see what happens. Oh, that's too ugly. I can't do it. That looks better. It's just such a small segment there that I know it's going to be potentially problematic. So we're going to come back. Well, no, we're not. We're just going to do it now. We have some land that we can fill in with zoning. And this zoning is going to help us pay for some of these buildings, for some of this infrastructure. So we're absolutely going to take advantage of that. So imagine us as the city doing a bit of speculation on the value of this land, buying out these landowners, putting up our bridge, and then reaping the benefits of the land sale after we are done. That does happen. You'll see DOTs and cities purchasing properties for infrastructure projects and then eventually turning around and selling said properties. And, you know, if the city's lucky, they make money on the deal. Or the DOT is lucky, they make money on the deal. So this is the next area that I have a problem with. So there's a crossing here, and you can see that we're already backed up beyond it. So what I think we're going to do here is get a little bit hokey with it and go underground. Okay, and that is ugly, but it should work. Look at how steep that. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's do a little better than that. We got to take some pride in our work. That is not work that I am proud of. So we're gonna need to keep. We'll keep that sorry attempt on the down low, because that was pretty bad. So a significantly longer tunnel. However, that ramp going down is a lot more forgiving. Same thing with the one coming up here, just a lot more reasonable. So I'm very, very, very pleased with how that turned out. Well, I'm pleased-ish. I'm gonna back away before I go crazy. All right, so some of this is gonna take a little while to clear out, and I have a feeling that I'm missing something else, but I'm gonna need to think about this for a minute, because I just need to look and see where the backup is happening. Holy cow. It's actually backing up way back here. That is wild. That is absolutely wild. So we actually need another track to let a little bit of pressure off here as well. So I don't want all of this to back up just because something wild is happening at the airport. So I think what we're going to do, come over here, let's throw our angle back into road guidelines. We're going to start with road guidelines so we actually get it straight. Okay, so this is going to at least let those, I guess, theoretically let the trains that are passing through here get off this main track and hopefully lessen some of this pressure here. Now, I think that one of the big things is going to be having this bridged is going to relieve things so much in this area. You can already see it a bit. Things are just looking a little bit better through here. A lot more smooth. This junction that I put here is not great. It's not ideal. I gotta show one more thing. Got an idea. I think that this is ever so slightly longer, and hopefully that'll help. It looks like one full train length can fit there, so that might be a benefit. You're still seeing that backup there, but it's okay. That is a-okay. Not ideal, but it's okay. Yeah. Some of this backup is from the situation before, but it's not that, it's manageable. And at least through here, it looks like we're in the clear now. So I'm going to count that as a win. We've got these couple areas that are going to consistently have backup. It's not Chicago though, so I'm gonna take that as a win. Because if this were a Chicago type situation, I think I'd feel fairly uncomfortable. Oh, they're still going through. Still going through. Wow. Okay. Solutions there too. Continue to over-engineer this. Now you've got no options. Now you have to go the way I want. But I'm thinking this might not be far enough back. So since we're above ground, there's no reason why we shouldn't just extend this a little bit further back, or a lot of it further back. Now I'm very certain that, yeah, look at that. Right away, that passenger train got off. It's not gonna get stuck here. The cargo trains can get backed up, no big deal. That's fine. Gotta make this corner slowly. These ones are getting backed up too, and that's causing half the problem. Oh, that's frustrating. So they're being forced into the train station. So that's another movement that we are missing. Now that one's going to be a significantly more challenging fix because we need to basically get over here. So I think we have to go underground here and connect up right there. I'm going to try it, but I'm not sure just how successful I'll be at this. Okay, so now I've really leaned into my controversial rail decisions and made this already difficult and complex network even more convoluted. So we'll see if that fixes anything. I might just be deleting this. I don't know that this track is going to do much. You can see that there's just, for days, backups that are just out of this world. And I guess we'll have to see. I'm not sure that this does much besides look super lumpy and bumpy and ugly and trigger my OCD. Oh, I'm just going to ignore it. All right, so why don't we do some things that don't trigger my OCD? Things that make me happy. So one of the things that makes me happy is upgrading these viaducts. So look at this. Let's go through. And one of the things I had questions about in a previous episode is how exactly do these, why are some of these bridges, with all of these trusses, and why are some of them just kind of traditional flat bridges? Well, we now know the answer. We have a fix. We don't know the answer. I didn't get there. I think I am going to extend this viaduct up because I think it'll look a little bit better. Do I think that's reasonable? I don't know. But at this point, it's I'm doing it as an aesthetic choice. Okay, so I've done a couple of things here to try to make it look a little bit nicer. It's mainly just I'm trying to incorporate this viaduct in a little bit, because it's not the greatest incorporation. But oh, and look at that! I broke the train tracks, and this is what I get for letting perfect be the enemy of good. This is my own fault. I knew better than this. No, this actually might go beyond that, and that's saying I think what's happening here is that the angle is off. First of all, we have a two-way bridge here that we're not using, so that's something I wasn't really thinking about. So we only have one way in, and we have two ways out. So that's kind of madness. One of the things that might have cleaned this up actually would have been reversing the direction of this, but I think we're committed at this point. So what we can do, call a mulligan on that bridge, because that's reasonable. But we'll get this really nice looking bridge, except for there. that looks bad. So let's. Okay, so now it's a functional underpass. Now, whether or not anyone decides to use it, that I have no idea. So, while we're looking at this, let's look at our other under and overpasses. So we have this 2-lane American Truss Bridge. I think that's something we could use here if we wanted. Let's see how that looks. So that's a local road. Something to keep in mind. 6-lane, 2-lane European. Again, local road. Then we have this 3-lane viaduct. It's nice. Problem is it has walking paths and there's no connection over here to walk. So I do think, even though I thought about using these, unless I were going to completely reconstruct this and go with this 4-lane European stone bridge or something along those lines, this doesn't make a lot of sense. Because I'm thinking of the speeds. This is another one, this 4-lane American Truss. That would be something that we could use, but just doesn't make sense. But anyway, at least we got to take a look at them, so that's kind of fun. Okay, so we're back with this, and that reminds me of something that's wrong over here. So I mentioned that these water pumps didn't seem to be working right. They wouldn't. They're not connected. So we've got that fixed now. Look at that. That is a pretty bridge, and it's not backing up. Holy cow, did we do something good here? All right, well, it's functioning, but I don't trust this, so we're gonna keep an eye on it. All right, very good. So now I want to do a little bit of work, and there were some comments about my tree placement by these runways. So I noticed this runway, but I didn't notice this runway, but I don't think this is as big of a problem. Still, that said, I'll be mindful of it. That's fine. One of the bigger comments was about this little diner that's now abandoned. We're going to leave that there. If it goes away, we're going to have to do something because it's going to ruin the whole island. But probably the bigger problem is something we just saw right here. Let's see if we get it again. Right there. This wing is over the road. That's a problem. And someone rightly pointed that out in the comments. We're going to shift all of this down just a little bit to try to remedy that. So let's do that right now. Okay, we've got to let this flood. Otherwise, the game is not going to be happy. Needs to flood. Let's speed this up. Okay, so I think we flooded enough to finish the job, so let's give it a shot. Nope. There we go. So I had to do a little bit of work here. Turn some things off for just a second. This isn't going to fit right, and I know that right off the bat. It's unfortunate. We might need to take a few liberties here. Oh, and we're going to lose this little thing because we're going to change the road just a little bit. All right, well, that is the sacrifice we're going to make. But I'm going to try again to get a nice little diner back there because I like that diner. It, to me, is something special on the island. So this is Mulligan Island, so we can do it. Okay, let's see if we can finally start moving these inland water treatment plants. Not gonna let me do it. Frustrating. The game is absolutely convinced that there's water. Oh, there's water inside of this. Oh, ah. All right, well, you win, game. So I know that I need to get rid of one of these treatment plants anyway, so I think I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, we've got our power problems. Really didn't want to do this, but I think I'm going to. It's probably the easiest way to remedy this. Yep, that does it. It's just such a hokey place for an earthquake sensor. You know, we're right here at the end of the runway. They're not going to hit it. They're flying up here, but it's just, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. But desperate times. Okay, so let's start building on water. There we go. Now the reason we're not going to be able to add another one of these is this road I have here. So we could eliminate this and do some hokey stuff around here, and I'm just not into it. I think that this diagonal around Cooper Street is so important that we're going to not worry about it. Now the problem that I'm seeing is I'm not really sure of a good way to make this connection down here. I might actually just move these down here and get rid of the back road. Probably an adequate solution. less road maintenance anyway. I liked the look of these all being together, but you know, look doesn't matter as much as function, so I need to remind myself of that stuff. Oh, that is brutal. That is brutal. That is not... So what I was trying to do is to be able to back this road up, I need to be able... So I think I can temporarily put that here. I don't know that I'm going to have room to place all of these buildings though. So yeah, that's a problem. Okay, do I love this? You know, I don't. But will it work well? Yeah. And does it make more sense? Absolutely. It's just one of those things where I like the way it looked before, but sometimes you do have to take a look at what you've done and ask yourself, is that reasonable? You know, is it a good idea to have plane wings clipping over the side of your clipping over the side of a road? Probably not. That's probably ill-advised. So we've remedied that. It's fine. I've taken my lumps, and this is just not going to be something that's going to be easy for me to fix. So I am going to need to do a little bit of landscaping to fix that. Now, I didn't finish the fences over here last time, and I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because first of all, we had that issue with the fences and their rotation. Now you see that I have a new issue, and that is with power. Hopefully these will develop into something that'll help. Okay, we've got something. Wow, those two planes clipping into one another. That's not safe. That's okay. All right, so now let's work on our fences a little bit. So we upgraded to the zoo fence, and the main reason we upgraded to the zoo fence is that there's no difference in the sides. What's going on here? I thought that we had enough power. We have a connection there, we have a connection here. We have no power. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't exactly know what's going on here. It's mad about something. Let's give it a temporary power line and see if that helps. Hopefully when this site develops. No, I do want to make these historical. I don't want these developing any higher. Okay. So is this ideal? Well, you know, probably not. But having power is pretty ideal, so we're gonna work within our limitations. Just getting these fences upgraded. And these really do, I love the aesthetic of these fences. I think that they look nice. And since this is a tourism destination, to me this makes absolute sense. So now we're gonna bring this back. Turn off our guidelines so we have a little bit more control. I do like to keep angle on though, so that I can still really keep an eye on my angles, and we'll get this nice and close. And that's not a 90, but it's pretty darn good. And we'll use some landscaping to deal with some of the wonkiness here. So we do have some space here that, you know, we could use for a helicopter depot or something, but I'm thinking, so we got the fire depot, we didn't get the police helicopter depot, and someone in the comments mentioned putting it over here. And I actually really love that comment. To me, it's a lot better than having some random office buildings over here. So I'm going with that. That was a great idea. I appreciate that comment. It was a good one, and I have incorporated it into the build. Don't love that gap, but I'm not going to get overly crazy about it because there's nothing I can do to make it any better. Okay, so I think we're all fenced in. The thing we need to think about now is our key walls. So with the new content creator packs, you might be sitting at the edge of your seats, maybe even yelling at your screen at this point, wondering, why am I not using the new keys? Why am I not using the new keys? I would love to use the new keys. There's only one problem. I can't upgrade anything that has a building on it. So this whole area is kind of a problem unless I had Anarchy on. And I don't have Anarchy in this build, so we're going to skip it there. We will upgrade the Hamilton experience, and I've gone through, and I was planning on doing that quickly today. I think I'm going to refrain from doing that because it's actually going to be more of a process than I had ever envisioned. So it's one of those things where you have really good intentions, And sometimes the best of intentions aren't good enough. This is one of those times. So there we go. That's looking good. Probably should connect our water over here. We've got a whole mess of water pipes. All connected and all looped up. We're good to go there. Time to do a bit of landscaping. I think that as far as everything goes around here, we're in a good spot. Where we're not in a good spot is with landscaping. Actually, before I get to landscaping, I want to think about one more thing. We still have this harbor over here, and I want this gone. So this is being decommissioned in favor of the harbors over there. Will make everyone very sad, understandably so, but we're going to perk them right up. A couple things that we can do. So we didn't use the new key walls over there, but we have an opportunity now. So let's take a look. We have this simple seawall fenceless, which might work really well if we were to place them right here. Ooh, what is... Oh, okay. I don't know what all that was about. All right, so it doesn't like that our space is already occupied. So I'm putting those there. Well, let's see what else we have. Maybe I should... So we got this one with 2 layers. It's interesting. I don't think we want people walking underneath our ferries, though. This one doesn't allow that. Steps down. Wider terrace. So if... I don't know if we're able to... I'm gonna give a quick test. If we can move this fishing pier to the lower level... Yeah, it's not... To me, it's a neat aesthetic, but it's not going to be helpful with this particular build. We've got these. Oh, those are nice. Look at that. So you got this one, which, you know, looks a little bit weathered and old and part of a historic city. And you got this one that feels... This almost looks like what you'd see on the side of an interstate. This one, simple without the fence. This... What is this? Oh, that's weird. Kind of cool though, because you could imagine having an area where you kind of bump it out like that and allow people to take a look, have some seats there, and look at the sunset. That's kind of neat actually. Same thing here. I like that a lot. Well, I think we are going to go with the fenced and fenceless versions over. So we'll go fenceless where we're going to put our ferry, and then we'll go with fenced where we have our ferry. And the cool thing is now we can make another path connection, and we're not going to load all that passenger traffic right onto this road. We are going to need to finagle this a bit over here with these. Let's get our ferry stop in. We put a road in. Does not like the road. And it's still unhappy with it. So, Mulligan City. So I saw that for one brief moment, the game was happy with my placement. So what I had to do basically was just click until it let me place it. Just gotta spam the button and hope for the best. And this is one of those interesting things with key walls, is it starts to do all this weird snapping stuff. So I had to go through and actually turn off all of my snap twos and after the... So we're gonna destroy a whole bunch of stuff right here, which it's painful, but there's not much I can do about it short of, you know, actually just destroying all this stuff and rebuilding it. But at least we didn't destroy our paths, so we've got that going for us. And it looks like I could have gone with the fenced-in version the entire way. It didn't really have an impact on the look of this, because I think this went up to it, and it did a very good job of just clipping it there. So I wish I would have, because now we have this one little segment, and I don't think that I can fix it. So the other thing you might recall about building these key walls is I had to actually bring the ocean up over here. So I'm going to do that again. And now that the ocean's back, I can again... I'm going to try to use the plateau tool right. I'm not using it right. So someone made this really nice video and attempted to show me. So let's see. Create a slope. Click on this with the secondary mouse button to set the slope. And click the primary to drag and address. That's what I think I was doing. It's just not working. I want so desperately to be good at using that tool, but sometimes you need to accept your own limitations and realize that maybe I'm just a super janky feathering softened terrain tool user. And I can make things look good if I do that, and I can make things look bad if I don't. So I'm going to slide these things over into just terrible locations, just temporarily, so I can upgrade this. There you can go and you can fish right on the beach. And we have totally messed up our street naming, so this is not Sardine, it's Harbor Avenue. Or it meets up and this place becomes... Yeah, that'll be the location. I'm sure that's exactly where I did it last time. And I'm sure that this wasn't Hemlock Street. I cannot recall. I'm going to have to... One of these days, we're going to have a detailing session. I'm really thinking about having a stream to do some detailing. That said, I don't know how to stream. So that's going to be part of the trick, is learning how. So we've got this going, and it's a lot sleepier. I like that. We have a lot of work to do here. I'm not happy with the trams, and when we do our transit episode, I'm going to change all of this. But for the time being, at least, it makes a little bit more sense. So I think that the harbor, for these ferries, it'd be really cool to see them kind of have a nice skyline tour of the city. So I wish that I could fit this underneath these bridges, but I can't. The reason I wish I could do that is I'd love to keep these out of the path, all of this other traffic that we have, but I just don't think it's going to be possible. Okay, so right now, just a really brief stop. Now I think I need to set some sort of path in between this depot. Yeah, you can see that it says, I'm not connected. You got to connect me. So we've made a connection. This is too close. It's not going to work. But at least now this can come over here, past this. It'd be nice if this was closer. Truthfully, maybe I should have extended this and made a better connection. Look at all these. That is insane. Yeah, so we don't need, in my opinion, that many ferries. Let's start out with 2 and see where that gets us. Turn around. Go back. Oh, that is not good. That's not good at all, but can do this. Oh, look at that. Just a nice view. If you were on the ferry, you'd be able to see downtown, just a striking view and a beautiful way to get to the downtown area. Something unique. So I'm really, really, really liking this. Okay. So I'm not sure how that's all going to turn out, but we are going to find out. What we do need to do, though, is get some pedestrian paths over here and then go back to what we're supposed to be doing, which is adding landscaping to our island. We haven't done any of that today. So that's what happens, though. You get a new DLC pack, or a creator pack release, and you've got to do a little bit of work with it. So interestingly, it's not going to let me make any connection besides this normal path up to this quay wall, and I don't know why that is. To me, it seems like it just might be the length. It's unfortunate, and I'm wondering, a way to test that over here? No. You can only make a connection using these old school paths. So keep that in mind. I guess for leveling purposes, that's going to certainly have an impact. It's unfortunate, but it's fine. Slow things down. We've been speeding along here. Curious, getting any traffic? We had none. Pick anyone up? 6 people going to the airport. That seems rational. Look at this transit backup. That's brutal. That is brutal. We're gonna need to do some work here, but that's not a today thing. Today, let's finish up our landscaping and make this island look a little bit more palatable. So the way that I think we're gonna do this is we're gonna start with one species and kind of work our way through, add some around, and then continue adding species as well. So I just noticed we never upgraded the roads over here to be industrial roads. I do want to do that. Again, this comes down to maintenance costs, and really there's just no real good reason to have local roads over here. A little modification in my mind is a good one. Curiosity, I'd love to connect this fence up. Okay, I'm going to place a couple of cafes and see if we can get something going over here. We do have a lot of demand, so that should help. So I think we might just add a couple of general industrial spaces over here. This land is too valuable to just leave it empty, and I could add, you know, a bunch of trees or whatever. That's not reasonable. So I think that this is how we'll handle it. This will certainly fill up. Something will come here. So another thing I noticed that I forgot to add, I wanted to add some fountains into this park space. So I think I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, look at that. Now it's a place to hang out. Or at least I'd like it to be. But I don't think that anyone's all that interested. So one of the things that was pointed out in the comments again was that this would really be a nice place to have a one-way loop. I completely agree. Unfortunately, I can't do that. I can't upgrade these roads. So one thing I could do is add a loop through here. It might help a bit. Why don't we at least give it a shot? We'll see what happens. Okay, so now it's time to see if it actually worked. Connected to make this historical, we'll make this historical, and we'll make this historical. Now we're good to go. All right, so we need to connect up our fence, and my OCD can end. So, and you might wonder, why am I bothering to put all of these trees kind of behind some of this industrial stuff? And I'm thinking that these trees are high enough that you would see them from other places in this area. And the other thing is, when you're flying into the airport, you would see this, and the trees would kind of mask some of the aesthetic of the industrial area that you see. So I think it's a worthy endeavor, and I think it would be something that would be thought about in an area like this. You wouldn't just say, well, it's the industrial part, so we're gonna leave it. No big deal. I think that we'd want, first of all, the symmetry of the trees and just the overall aesthetic. It also makes some of these areas that otherwise look like afterthoughts appear to be a little bit more planned. So I'm almost done with that kind of tree. I do think in this roundabout we're going to want to do something a little bit special, so we're not going to use a tree that we've used everywhere else. Okay, I think that looks pretty nice. You come in here and it just looks lush. And that's kind of what I want to do throughout some of these other areas that are a little bit larger. Just make them look like there's some things happening here. It doesn't take much. All you got to do is kind of place a couple of these assets. You got to be careful with them because you can encroach into sidewalks and whatnot, and that's certainly not desirable. But you can overlap these, so why not go kind of crazy with them? I think we could probably use some more trees over here. I went a little sparse. Part of that is I keep getting these errors about building on water. It's because this island perma-floods. It floods every time I load the game, and it's going to continue to flood forever. It's just kind of the way it's designed, I guess. So design flaw, hindsight being 2020. Maybe I could have done something a little bit different, but I like it, and I'll accept the limitations of the island. We know that we have that's exactly why we put the service in there, to deal with that. So with some of this stuff, I'm placing it in there a little bit more randomly to make it feel a bit more organic. Okay, so I want to try to cover up some of these lumpies and bumpies with some of these grasses. I think they do a good job of hiding some of that. So that grass is vegetation. So yeah, you cover it up with vegetation, and then you end up with something that looks a little bit better anyway. You do kind of have to go all out with it though in some of these areas if you wanted to, to cover a little bit better. But to me, this looks like overgrowth anyway, and I like the idea of an area like this where it's kind of an irregular part of the parcel feeling like it's a little overgrown, because who's going to go back there and mow? I mean, I guess the airport might say we'd like it, but I doubt it. I doubt anyone cares. I think that this is something that the airport planners look back at with a great deal of regret, thinking would have been great if we could have worked these uses, or worked in a use or two back there, because that was a very expensive chunk of land to leave for vegetation and palm trees. But you end up with what you end up with. So I did think about placing a park right here, kind of a place to, you get off your ferry, you go take a beat. I honestly, I don't know why anyone would go there. So why invest the money? I do think that there are places like that exist where you kind of just, you go and you go, well, what were they thinking? Like no one's going to want to ever hang out here. Like at this point, you just got off the boat. I think the last thing you'd want to do is spend some time looking at the water that you just spent all that time on. So not going to worry about that too much. So we'll just fill this in with some vegetation, try to make it look a little bit unkept, but still manicured. The Verde Beach way. So, and then just to kind of obstruct the views of underneath the train, I do want to have kind of a wall of vegetation out here because we have an industrial road, and this would be the first thing people would see would be this train track, this viaduct, and then the backs of these buildings. So if we could have vegetation there blocking that view, all the better. Switch over to some palm trees so we don't clip too much. Okay, so I think we've got most of the island filled in with some sort of vegetation, and I'm really kind of making it thick here because I want it to feel kind of like a tropical paradise. I want it to feel like this is a place that is really well taken care of, really well thought about, really, I want it to feel complete. And I think that landscaping is where you get it. So the other thing is I'm going to put some of this lower landscaping on the road here. So I know that there was some concern, and I mentioned this earlier about the landscaping being in the flight path. But if I have this lower tree here, this bush, I think we should be okay and still be able to look complete. And there's a rationale to why it's like that. You see that it tapers down. I think that's good. I'm really appreciative of that feedback. I think that was good feedback. I did include the trees back here, but I think that's a little bit further on the path. So if there's any reason I ever need to add unlimited trees to this build, this island will probably be it. So, because there are just some trees here now. I love it. So I really think that we should soak this in and get a view for it. What does this look like? Let's be this truck right here. It will be this pickup truck, and let's see. So we go up. Maybe at some point in the future, I'll replace this bridge with one of the bridges in the content packs that just came out. Let me know in the comments if you want me to, if you're okay with what I've done. You can see that it's just very, very, very lush here. Lots and lots of really nice vegetation. You go through here and it feels like a place that was well thought out. And that is really the aesthetic I was going for. I wanted this to feel like a place that someone put some time into. Because you figure with an airport like this, there'd be landscaping plans that would come in for the airport itself and every single building here. There'd be landscaping required. And Verde Beach, being a city that loves landscaping, would require landscaping every square inch of this place. It would be well thought out. It would be for aesthetics. It would also be for sound in certain places. But most of what would be thought about here would be the aesthetics. We want people to feel like this is a place that you want to go and vacation at. And now, speaking of vacation, there's one more thing I want to do before we end this episode, and that is hotels. So I want to check to see if we have any hotels available in our content creator packs. So we're going to go into our unique buildings. Let's see if I have any left. I think I've used a lot of the buildings here. Yeah. So that's not going to work. So I have a ramen restaurant, a truck stop. None of that's exactly what we're looking for. So let's see. Vertical farm. Ooh, neat. This must be new too. A small pier that goes across the Rhine River in Germany. That's neat. Neat. Decorative piers that came with this. That's still not solving my problem with hotels. So I think the way that we're going to solve that is by creating a new district. So I don't want to create a monster district and rename everything here, redo everything, but I do want a small district. And what I think I might do is kind of right here. Well, not do enough, apparently. We will make a little district. We don't need bookstores. We need tourists. Maybe I'll make it a big district. So I started out small and I just keep expanding it. You know what? At this point, let's just go all out. It's fine. Actually, let's make 2 districts. So I'm gonna also throw in a leisure district. I'm gonna add a leisure district, and so I'll do that here, and then I'll do tourism here. And the thought behind that would be at least you have a place to go and do something while you're waiting or while you're visiting. Now the unfortunate thing is everything here is going to go away, but it's going to be rebuilt very quickly. So I'm not going to stress about it too much. So the idea of rental car companies, I guess that's out the window, but that's not what we had anyway. We had bookstores, because we have bookstores. So this'll be a sort of solution. I'm going to speed this up for a second, see what we get. Okay, so we can kind of get a flavor for what's happening over here. What we're seeing is that we have a lot of really tall towers kind of flanking the hotel. And that was kind of what I thought was going to happen. I mean, I knew it was going to happen because of this specialization, but I'm going to try to be okay with it. So one of the things I know that we're missing over here, so we have all of these different city service buildings. I don't think that we have a clinic. We have a champion weightlifting gym. So I did add the leisure specialization over here. Probably not the right choice because I did want to get this clinic in. So we kind of have all of our city services right here because you figure that would be important in an area like this. So I might call another Mulligan. It's Mulligan Island after all. And we'll bring this in a bit. I'm not feeling very creative in terms of naming today, so I need some names. I got Mulligan District and Mulligan District 2, so maybe the names aren't that important, and maybe we should just take care of them when I do all of the street naming over here, but for now, that's what we have. So, not great. I feel bad about that, but not bad enough to fix it. So I kind of want to take an inventory of where we're at in terms of utilization of things, so you can see that we have a lot of passengers. Wow, 888, 1,098. I think a lot of these are likely metro passengers, though I imagine we have very full airplanes as well. See lots of passengers coming in. 9 people on that cruise ship. That seems like some 2021 cruise ship action there. Not ideal. Let's see here, 81. All right, so we're getting some people on there. Our ferry's got 6 people. We've got some things happening here, but I think this is going to take some time. And our ferry, we're going to build this system out. I'd really like to see this ferry extending this way and all the way around the island is kind of a way to get around. Oh, we missed apparently a very, very fiery time over here. Miss any other fires? Yeah, we got one over here. It looks like this whole area burned and nothing burned down. Ooh, we have water problems. I didn't even notice. I thought I made that connection over here. What is going on? Is that off? I'm confused. Operating. Well, that is curious. I'm wondering if part of that has to do with these reservoir pumps over here. Interesting. Yeah, that's a problem. I'm not happy about that. We still have one of these pumps that's not working. Don't know why. So that's going to be something I need to investigate. I might do a little bit of that off camera because this is pretty weird. I don't understand. I wonder if I turn this off. Nothing. That is brutal. Okay, well, if anyone has any ideas about that, please leave this in the comments as well, because that is not good. I might actually, even though we don't need a water tower, I'm going to add one over here. We'll see if that just gets this thing pumping, because I am not happy about that. It's clearly not been working for a while, which you can tell because of how much is greened up over here. So that's no good. And it doesn't seem to be improving. We're filling up these tanks now. Maybe that's the question. No. Huh. Very, very curious. I've got a lot of questions about what's happening because none of this really makes any sense to me. I'm not sure why that wouldn't work. Well, that will be a mystery for the next episode because I think we're going to leave it here. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I'm gonna not show you this. Pretend that never happened. Oh, maybe we just had a lot of fires, and maybe there's still a fire happening that I'm unaware of. Quick survey. I don't see anything else. These working? Yes. All right, well, I'm going to leave it here. I think that we've made some good progress today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit that like button. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you want to be notified of when I release new videos, please hit that notification icon. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. You can see their names here. They help me create all this content, and I really, really appreciate them. And I want to thank you. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching everything, and thank you for your support. I'm going to leave you with a brief city tour, and that'll start right now.